Hello and welcome to How to Win in Court Without a Liar. I'm Dave Horowitz and I'll be your host tonight. Thanks for joining me. Just wanted to say hello. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. So today I am going to be discussing the administration of the public trust. Administer, okay, means basically they're acting ministerially, okay, and if they are acting ministerially, they are not acting judicially. So when you go into court, most of the time, they are an administrative tribunal and not a court. In the public, you've got all these different government agencies. So when you get brought into court for, let's say, a traffic violation, because that's probably the most common thing that people go into court for, the administrator, calling themselves a judge, are acting as an administrator for the Department of Motor Vehicles, okay? And that trust, it is a public trust. All of government offices are trust positions, even though, it is a corporation. It is a corporation for sure. But when they are administrating, they're administrating trust, the trust that is there in the public. So if you registered your vehicle with the DMV, you are basically giving them ownership. You are the grantor. You are granting them the property. They are taking it in trust. They're holding legal title to that property, and they're giving you back equitable title. So they're splitting the title when you register something with the government. They always hold on to the legal title, and they give you equitable or, beneficial title. You get to use it. And that's across the board. Problem is that as a public administrator or a public servant or a public trustee, and those are all used interchangeably and should be looked at interchangeably. They are. A trustee administers for the trust. So if you looked up the legal definition of administer, it says to manage the affairs of, okay, to direct or supervise the execution, use, or conduct of, administer a trust. So that's the legal definition of administer. So it's to manage the affairs of your affairs. They're there managing your affairs, and the only reason they're managing your affairs is because you refused to manage them yourself, or you do not know what's going on when you walk in that place. You think you're going to something that's judicial, when in fact it is administrative, and it's acting under the executive branch. They're not acting under the legislative or judicial branches when you go into these administrative courtrooms. So when you go in there, they're administrating the res, the assets in the trust, your vehicle. You put it into the trust. You, to use your vehicle, had to get permission from them, a license. And if the light is out and they pull you over and they write you a ticket, they're fining you for not following the rules of the trust. And you gave it to them. You gave them the property. It's no longer yours, even though you get the right to use it. You get the privilege of using it. It's not right because you sold your right for privileges. And you're going in there, and they're administrating the public property that you gave them, okay? Which is how they can tell you what you can and can't do with it. They're managing your affairs, okay? And as the grantor, when the grantor grants a trustee something, they're managing those affairs for the grantor. Okay? The trustee becomes the legal owner of the property, the res, the subject matter that's being discussed in that tribunal. So it would be an administrative adjudication, okay, is what they're going to be doing in there. So when you go into court and you're standing before that administrator, they are basically acting as trustee. They don't want to tell you these things, okay? They want you to be the trustee because the trustee has a fiduciary responsibility to the beneficiaries, okay? They cannot take that property and then put it in, their own pocket. They're not supposed to profit off of trust assets. The benefits have to go, the benefit of the trust is for the beneficiary. So when you go in there and they're calling your name or calling the name of the trust that they're administrating, which is your all caps name, okay, that's what they're administrating at that tribunal. And when you walk in there, you think that this is a court, okay? You think that, they have the right to tell you what to do and that you're subject to all the rules and regulations that the government creates, which is not true unless you sign a contract and apply for these benefits, okay? Just the fact that you have to apply for benefits should say something about your position in this trust, okay? Your position should be as beneficiary, not as trustee, okay? But they end up making you into the trustee or making you believe that you have a fiduciary responsibility, a debt to society that you've got to pay, okay? And then you just go in and pay it and, and have a nice day. You leave, okay? I don't do that. Because I know the role of the judge and the role of the prosecutor, and who I am, I know that I am not the trustee. At best, I am a beneficiary or a would-be beneficiary should I choose to accept the benefits. I don't. So usually when you go in there, they are, they say, so if you get pulled over, especially if you're starting to learn some of this stuff and, you go out and you take your plates off and, you go on your way or you throw a private plate on there and you get pulled over, that officer, that cop is acting administratively, okay, or ministerially. They are trying to administer the trust. Basically, they are security for the trust, okay? They're saying that you are abusing trust property, okay? You were speeding, or your lights out, or your car smoking, or whatever. You didn't use your turn signal. You're not following the rules set forth in the trust that you applied to be a part of, okay, as the grantor. Now, problem with all of this, okay, on the public side, everything that they've done is a breach of trust. It's fraud, okay? I came across a really neat document yesterday. It is a memorandum of a memorandum of law and authorities on trust. And it's just under 60 pages. But I'm going to read a little bit of it because this will give you a very good idea as to what a fiduciary or an administrator, which is what the judge is acting as, is the administrator for the trust. Okay? A trustee in a private trust is the lawmaker. Okay? Well, the grantor makes all the laws and the rules, but the trustee makes sure everybody's following them. Okay? Kind of like the judge in this administrative public courtroom. Okay? So this says here, fiduciaries have a duty to bear the utmost fidelity to public trusts created by constitutions that were created, ordained, and established by people. who are grantors and beneficiaries of the public trust. Limitations placed